Wait there.
Go on, growing the beard out.
Yeah, we're just what?
Am I giving up stage?
We're on their time, so. But anyway, I'll call you later.
Wait there. How do you do this?
How do you do what, fam? You're on already. There's nothing else to do but
Well,
talk.
This whole thing needed to fucking update.
Yeah, I had the same problem.
Zoom wanted to fucking update. Oh, wait there. I used to have all three screens looking the same.
How'd you do it?
Yeah.
Are you on your phone?
Here we go. Gallery view.
Yeah.
That's a bad boy that I want. Yo, my man's looking warm, you know. You're looking like a character out of something. I don't know. I like it.
It looks very comfortable, man.
It does, you know. It looks like a duvet.
We ready?
Oh, God.
Ready, man.
Oh, my God. Look at this.
Do you know what?
Grab my back as well now.
Do you know what? The lady does
I'm on my
protest too much. He fucking likes it. He's pretending he doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
No.
You're protesting too much. Protesting way too much. You've had time to shave it. You've had time to shave it.
No, listen. I went for the machine, innit? It's too long for the machine now. So the other day I was going. It doesn't do it properly, bruv. It gets itchy. I've got to do it with the blade now.
So you got a Tesco everywhere. Go buy a razor, innit?
Oh no, I've got it. I've got the whole thing. I can't be asked to do it.
So because you like it, if you hated it, it'd be off by now. Moaning, fam.
No, it's because I'm only doing work.
Did we all get a chance to listen to the Hopkins?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bryn, do you wanna start off? Because I can't be bothered.
Are we gonna do this shit like official, like, or are we just gonna jump in?
Let's start it, fam.
All right, fuck it. We'll do it semi-official. Welcome to the podcast, boy. The lockdown podcast. Been a while still. We have visas done right there. As you can see, it is very comfortable looking hoodie. We got, you should have changed your name there, but we got
He can't change his name now, fam.
what's his name?
That's
Juanito.
it.
We got Juanito with the facial hair going in there as well.
His whole government is on screen. That's it.
Exactly. And of course, we got Bryn as usual. So, unless you've been living under a rock, boy, we know there's a whole lot of shit to be talking about. I'm gonna start with Katie Hopkins because it leads into everything else quite nicely. She posted up a ridiculous video asking 3 questions to people with regards to Black Lives Matter. So I'm going to read out the first question, kind of paraphrasing, but getting the basic idea of what she was asking, and give us a chance to kind of, respond to the question. If you would like to, if you don't, you can just to go fuck yourself. Your choice, really. So her first question was, why do Black Lives Matter more when a white person is involved? So effectively to say, if a black person kills a black person, everyone's fine with it. If a white person kills a black person, it's a hate crime and the system is terrible.
Oh, and Alan or Juanito, I don't know what to call you at this point.
The floor is there, open, go for it.
Because she gave an example for that first question. And she said some, what was it, like some gangbang in Chicago, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. It's not the same thing. Like, the question doesn't even work out. The example she gave was those gangbangers in Chicago, yeah?
Yeah.
The same way that they killed themselves, the Mexicans, gangs, probably, the mafias, the cartels killed a whole load of people, Eastern European. Here, there would have been murders between, do you know what I mean? They're not citizens, if shall we say. The Black Lives Matter kind of thing, that's just an ordinary citizens that are going about doing their daily business and don't return home. Do you understand? They're not criminals. The gangbangers or whatever, that's a risky life that they decide to, you know what I mean? If they're dealing drugs, whatever, and then they have a rival thing with, they're living that lifestyle.
Yeah, I think her question was more about a black person just killing a random white man that's not involved in drugs or whatever. Unfortunately, we have that happening in every sort of part of society. Do you know what I mean? You can't try and not justify the Black Lives Matter movement because some rogue black people killed a white man. But to be honest, if she's going to pose questions, she needs to do her research, because she mentioned the second part of the question was, why do Black Lives Matter now that Trump's in power and it didn't matter while Obama was in power? Black Lives Matter started July 2013. Who was president in July 2013? I think that just by responding to that, we can just move on and stop talking about the obtuse cunt that she is. Really, what's the point?
Yeah, fair enough. So, I mean, I'll be trying to be brief on this one. So my take on that first question is it should be the fairly common sense take that she clearly lacks, right? So I kind of get what you're saying, Alan, in terms of the people that choose certain lifestyles, but she could counter that and say it's still a black person killing a black person. So where is the concern for the lives, right? Now this is where
there is.
But this is the problem that what she's not understanding is there's a difference between somebody being killed in the context of a crime, right? So somebody on the street, a criminal killing anybody, whether it's another criminal, whether it's a citizen, whoever, it's a criminal committing an act. It's another thing when it's somebody that's supposed to be protecting you from the criminals that are murdering you in plain sight.
Yeah, that's true.
And nobody says a fucking thing.
Yeah.
So this idea that Black Lives Matter more when a white person's involved, is no. Black Lives Matter more when they're being treated as less by the people that are there to protect us.
Mm-hmm.
So for her to even try and compare what, criminals might do to one another or to the average person to what a police officer does to somebody is disgusting. But I expect nothing less from
her.
And
actually, we could just say as well that if she does want to say that, why don't they focus on when black people kill black people? Black people do focus on that. The problem is that the people in power in councils and cities are not black. They don't care if black people are killing black people. If it was whites killing whites, then they'd be like, oh my God, a lot of white boys are killing a lot of white boys, and there'd be stuff for that. But there's not enough funding, for example, to try and help the situation.
Yeah.
It's not like the black community doesn't care when black teenagers are killing other black teenagers. We do care. But there's little that we can do if we're screaming, but the government's not doing anything for it.
Yes, no, I completely agree there.
Government, like, a Tory government will cut funding to youth centres, etc., etc. So what is it really that we can do? That's what I would say.
So it does lead on to the second question she asked. We've actually kind of covered already, was about what is the movement asking for and when did it start, because it didn't seem to care when Obama was in power. And we've answered that already, clearly.
But what does the movement? What's the movement asking for? It's like if you're so dumb to listen, equality. That's it. I don't know what more we can say.
This is the thing. But for her to try and say that it was like this magical thing that kicked up just recently. No, like she's just not bothered to even
she wants
do the slight.
I'll tell you what though. Why she? I don't understand how she gets so big. She only has like 50,000 followers.
Because the thing is, right, people will retweet her shit because it's controversial, and we're sitting here talking about it as much as we don't want to, probably, right?
I don't know what her point is. Who is she?
She's a troll. She's a fucking troll. But what she says is dangerous, and sometimes it needs to be addressed. What? So
the other guy that's dangerous is Farage and Good Morning Britain, or whatever they call it, saying the Black Lives Matter movement is like the Taliban. I mean, if that's not stoking...
When did he say that?